Right now, you're probably getting ready for bed. Maybe you've already turned off the lights. Maybe you're watching this instead of sleeping. Either way, tonight, just like every other night of your life, you'll eventually close your eyes and spend roughly 1/3 of your existence unconscious. It feels completely normal. Humans sleep at night. That's just the way it is. Except it wasn't always inevitable. For most people, the explanation seems obvious. We sleep because it's dark. Our ancestors couldn't see in the dark, so they rested until sunrise. Simple, right? Except that explanation falls apart almost immediately. After all, countless animals stay active throughout the night. Owls hunt. Wolves roam. Bats navigate in complete darkness. Even many primates today become active long after the sun disappears. So, if evolution could have taken us in either direction, why did humans become creatures of the daylight? Why did our ancestors choose the daytime and give the entire night away? To answer that question, we have to travel back millions of years long before cities, before fire, before stone tools, before our species even existed. Around 60 million years ago, the earliest primates lived in a world that belonged almost entirely to the night. Small mammals rarely ventured into daylight because daytime was ruled by dinosaurs and, later, enormous predators that hunted using incredible vision. Night offered safety. Those early primates evolved gigantic eyes capable of gathering tiny amounts of moonlight. They developed sensitive hearing, excellent climbing abilities, and flexible hands that allowed them to move through branches almost silently. Darkness wasn't their weakness. It was their advantage. For tens of millions of years, our ancestors thrived after sunset. Then something unexpected happened. The forests began changing. Global temperatures shifted. Dense tropical forests slowly gave way to more open woodlands across eastern Africa. The trees became farther apart. The ground became unavoidable. And suddenly, living exclusively at night became much more dangerous. Moving across open terrain in complete darkness meant walking directly into predators you couldn't see. At the same time, daylight offered something entirely new. Food and fruit became easier to spot. Leaves could be selected more carefully. Insects hiding beneath bark became visible. The ability to see color suddenly became one of evolution's greatest advantages. This is where scientists believed one of humanity's biggest transitions began. Unlike most mammals, humans and many other primates possess remarkable color vision. That ability wasn't designed for appreciating sunsets. It evolved because distinguishing ripe fruit from unripe fruit could mean the difference between survival and starvation. The brighter the daylight, the easier life became. Researchers studying modern primates have noticed something fascinating. Species that rely heavily on color vision are overwhelmingly active during the day. Those that depend on smell and hearing tend to dominate the night. In other words, our eyes were quietly deciding our schedule long before our brains ever did. But daylight solved one problem while creating another. The African savanna wasn't empty. Massive prehistoric cats like lions, leopards, hyenas are very common there. Every journey to food carries enormous risk. And unlike fast-running antelope or powerful gorillas, our ancestors weren't built for speed or strength. They couldn't outrun danger. They couldn't overpower it. So, evolution has found another solution. Initial groups became larger. Individuals watched over one another. Someone was always paying attention. Living together dramatically increased survival. But group living introduced an entirely different challenge. When should everyone rest? Imagine 20 early humans trying to survive without any shared rhythm. Some would sleep while others searched for food. Some would wander alone at night. Others would remain awake all afternoon. The group would constantly become fragmented. That fragmentation made everyone vulnerable. Natural selection favored communities that synchronized their lives. Wake together. Travel together. Eat together. Sleep together. Daylight naturally became the world's oldest clock. Long before calendars existed, the sun organized civilization. But perhaps the biggest turning point arrived around 1 million years ago with the invention of fire. No invention changed human nights more dramatically. At first glance, fire seems like it should have transformed humans into nocturnal creatures. After all, they finally had light after sunset. But that's not what happened. Instead, fire made nighttime something completely different. Not a second workday, a social space. Anthropologists studying modern hunter-gatherer societies consistently observe something remarkable. Daytime conversations revolve around practical matters like food, travel, weather, hunting. But once darkness falls and people gather around fire, the conversation changes. Stories appear. Songs emerge. Myths are shared. Lessons pass between generations. Humor flourishes. Around the fire, humans stopped merely surviving. They started imagining. Some researchers believe storytelling itself has become one of humanity's greatest evolutionary advantages. Knowledge could suddenly survive beyond a single lifetime. Knowledge of a dangerous animal, a successful hunt, a poisonous plant, a moral lesson are shared to all. Instead of rediscovering everything from scratch, each generation inherited thousands of years of accumulated experience through stories told beneath the stars. Night became the classroom. Day remained the workplace. And this balance shaped the human mind. Modern neuroscience reveals something equally fascinating. Your brain doesn't simply respond to darkness. It contains an internal clock. Deep inside your brain sits a tiny structure called the suprachiasmatic nucleus. It receives signals directly from your eyes. As daylight fades, it begins triggering a chain reaction. Body temperature falls. Alertness decreases. Melatonin production rises. Sleep gradually becomes unavoidable. This system exists because millions of years of evolution rewarded individuals whose internal clocks matched Earth's rotation. Your body doesn't ask whether you're ready for bed. It predicts when bedtime should arrive. That's why jet lag feels so miserable. It's not just that you're tired. Your ancient biological clock believes the sun is lying to you. Even modern electricity hasn't completely overridden this system. Screens, streetlights, late-night work are incredibly recent compared to the evolutionary forces that shaped our brains. For over 99% of human history, sunset meant darkness. Darkness meant reduced activity. And reduced activity meant survival. Because wandering alone through prehistoric Africa after midnight was rarely a good strategy. But here's something even more surprising. Humans don't actually sleep through the entire night naturally. Historical records from Europe, Asia, and the Middle East describe something historians now call segmented sleep. People commonly slept for several hours, woke naturally around midnight, stayed awake for an hour or two talking, praying, reflecting, or tending the fire, then returned to sleep until dawn. Only after industrialization standardized work schedules did uninterrupted 8-hour sleep become the expectation. In other words, even the way you think humans have always slept isn't entirely true. Our relationship with the night has constantly evolved. Yet one pattern never disappeared. Darkness remained a time for rest, reflection, and community, not productivity. Today we flood our cities with artificial light. We work overnight. We stream movies until 3 in the morning. We carry miniature suns inside our pockets. But underneath all of that technology, your brain is still following instructions written millions of years ago. Every evening, ancient biology quietly begins taking control. Your eyelids grow heavier. Your attention fades. Your reaction time slows. Not because you're lazy, not because you've run out of motivation, but because countless generations survived by doing exactly what you're about to do tonight. Close their eyes, find safety, and wait for the sun to return. Humans didn't simply start sleeping at night because darkness arrived. We started sleeping at night because evolution slowly transformed daylight into opportunity and nighttime into connection. The day became the time to build the world. The night became the time to remember why we were building it in the first place. So tonight, when you finally turn off the lights, remember this. You're not ending your day. You're continuing one of the oldest rituals your species has ever known. A ritual that began millions of years before anyone had words to describe it. The sun still tells your body when to wake. The darkness still tells it when to rest. And every single night, without realizing it, you follow the same rhythm that guided your ancestors beneath African skies long before civilization ever existed.